waiting, it probably shows it that it's live, and I just cut it and I do like a little intro like that, so it's kind of funny.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we're live. Welcome everybody to a new series on the Third Sense channel, both on YouTube and Twitch, called Meet the Streamer. Today we have Ryan, or better known as Rhino, on the show. How's it going, Rhino? Or
It's going
Rhino
good.
or Ryan? What do you like?
Rhino's
Rhino.
good, right?
Dope. So yeah, let's jump right into it. If you would like, just let everybody know, who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
My name's Ryan. I live in Arizona. I do a bunch of different stuff. I have a normal full-time job, and
Nice.
I do streaming on the side. I kind of treat it like a second job, but
Yeah.
basically, I was born and raised in Arizona. I did live in Reno, Nevada for a little bit.
Nice.
Came back, and then I'm also very big into sports. Football and baseball are my main two. I could sit and talk sports for hours.
Okay. So now you say big sports guy. What are your predictions for the Super Bowl?
Probably going to be another Patriots win, unfortunately.
Really?
Hard to see Brady and Belichick winning it, but I'm hoping that it's just a good game. That's all I really care about. I just don't want it to be a blowout, unless it's the Eagles blowing out the Patriots. But yeah,
that's true. I mean, I definitely. I mean, I never bet against Tom Brady. That's pretty much what I said. I never bet against him. I mean, you saw what he did against who was it? The Eagle? No, the
Falcons
Vikings?
last year.
No, the Falcons, and the Vikings didn't play the Vikings as well. Like a couple weeks ago, or was that? No, that was no. The Vikings beat the Saints. Never mind. I'm confused. Not a sports guy. Messing all up. But yeah, I'm excited for the Super Bowl too. I'm not a crazy fan of football, but I do like watching a Super Bowl. So that's cool. So what is it that kind of kept you in Arizona and all those kind of like lower down states?
Well, didn't have much of a choice as a kid, but as I got older, I don't know. My roots are here. I got tons of friends and family here.
Okay.
The wife and I did make an attempt to try to move to San Diego just because I absolutely love the
California.
Beach. Yep. I was only going to do it if we could be within a half mile of the beach. So after looking into it and kind of figuring out what the expenses would look like and whatnot, it wasn't worth it. We'd have to take like what we're paying for our house here was going to get us like a studio apartment on the beach.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, it definitely is. I'm actually I don't know, I'm from California, and it is expensive. I plan to eventually move back there, if all this eSports thing plans out. So I'm excited for that. But that's dope. Yeah, I'm in the Midwest now, and I'm just kind of here, similar to your story. I didn't really have a choice. My parents came here, so that's interesting. So now let's get into the juicier questions, right? When and why did you start streaming? I think everybody has like that story that they want to tell, right? Over a beer and some pizza.
So basically, I've always been a gamer, mainly a console gamer. I didn't really get my first good PC until a few years ago. Even then, I was still mainly a console gamer, but because I didn't have that friend base that played PC, all my friends played console. But essentially, I've been streaming for a year. Just my 1 year anniversary was January 13th.
Oh wow.
But my best friend, guy I've known for 20 years, was like, why don't you do Twitch streaming? And I never thought about it. I didn't really know what Twitch was. So I started looking into it and whatnot. And pretty much I'm the type of guy though that will just dive right into it. I looked into it, did some research, watched some of the top streamers, it was like the Doc and Summit and Ninja and whatnot, and just kind of got a feel for what they were doing, and went out and bought a mic and a cam, and those were the first two things I ran with. And since then it's been I've been trying to move uphill as much as I can, improving everywhere I can. I'm a stickler for quality, so my stream's never good enough for me, so I'm always trying to improve. Right. But that's how I got into it. It was just a buddy saying like, hey, you have the personality for it, you're good at video games, you should try it out. So, and here I am.
No, it's very true. I like what you said in the beginning. You were a console. You started off as a console gamer, and I think a lot of us start off as console gamers, for the fact that PCs were very expensive a couple years ago, and now it's like you can build a PC, you can go on websites, and you can even do finance the computer or like take it out on like a loan type deal. So that's good. Now it's like Now anybody can have a PC and game on it, and nonetheless too, I think console games at the moment are like $6 and up, depending on like new titles. So
Yeah.
that for me, like once I get older, my parents started catching on like why is every game $60? They're like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. That's what made me switch over. I was not going to waste that much money. Keep in mind too, right? New consoles come out every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of throwing money down the drain when it comes to stuff like that. So I do see you have a cool, some cool stuff going on in the background. Can you tell me a story about that rhino up there?
The rhino is actually nothing
Yeah.
even special. It was
Yep.
we actually the wife and I got back from our honeymoon.
Oh,
And
nice.
we got married back in March, but we were going to IKEA to actually buy the shelf,
Okay.
and happened to have that stuffed rhino. So how perfect is that?
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
It was meant to be, definitely. That might have been a sign. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's cool though. I really like the background and that you have going on. So onto a more of a serious question, I guess, if you will. What do you enjoy about streaming, and what do you hate?
Well, one of the things I enjoy is just the amount of people that I've gotten to meet. I've met some
Right.
incredible people in this last year, some really cool guys and girls that that are fun to game with, and to help support, and they support me back, and it's just been an incredible journey so far, and I'm definitely looking
Yeah.
forward to see what else happens along the lines of streaming. But as far as like the downside of it,
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like a bittersweet type deal, because I don't want to feel like I'm arrogant or anything like that. But
Yeah.
the amount of people that want to hang out with you and play with you when you go live is kind of hard to kind of decipher. Like, all right, who am I going to pick to play with? So I don't want to upset anybody.
Hmm.
But it's, and then sometimes you have your down days just like anything else. I mean, you have a bad day at work, you have a bad day just personal life. You're gonna have your bad days with streaming too. And one thing with streaming is definitely has its peaks and valleys. More peaks than anything. I mean, I've had a couple valleys where it's kind of like, why am I doing this? But for the most part, streaming's fun. I'm having a blast doing it. It's got more pros and cons, I think.
No, definitely. I agree. Kind of going off that question, when it's more of a personal question. When have you told your wife about streaming? Like, have you tried to like sit down and like, hey, this is what I want to do eventually? Like, if you have, like, what were her first impressions or thoughts about this, right? Because I think for anybody that's like streaming and you tell your parents or your spouse, hey, I'm gonna like eventually want to do this full time, I think it must be nutty, right? Like, well, what are you talking about? We have things to do, bills to pay. So yeah, if you can walk me through what like the time you told her this, or how this came about.
First of all, my wife is incredible. I got incredibly lucky with her. She's been
Nice.
supportive from the get go. She's been one of my biggest supporters and whatnot. Even it bugs her at days, because I'm in here. So I get home from work, I take care of a few things around the house, and I go stream, and then that's pretty much my night, And I try to make as much time as I can to hang out with her, outside of streaming and work. But she's been incredibly supportive. She's a big fan of it. She's in my chat, chatting up with the other people watching, and she we even have, like, when I do my like Friday night drinking streams, we have I'll yell out hootie hoo, and she'll bring me a beverage.
Oh,
So
nice,
she's
nice.
super supportive about it.
You guys got a system. I like
Yeah,
that.
she's awesome. And eventually we'll do a couple stream, where she'll sit down
Oh,
and we'll play
nice.
together. And I actually have one YouTube video where she sat in for me and had a fake beard on and was trying to play Battlegrounds, and it was pretty funny. But yeah, she's been awesome with far support, and a lot of my friends have, I got a pretty good head start going into streaming because of them.
Yeah.
So
No, that's actually really cool. I don't know if you follow League of Legends, but there was a actual like a segment that League of Legends did. I don't know if this was to bring awareness of like LGBT or just in general, just to like show how League of Legends brings people together. But there was a video where it showed how couples met online, and they stream, and now they're like have a family and all this stuff because of League of Legends and because of video
that's
games.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that kind of goes with your story, right? Like eventually, this is something that can bring you guys even closer, together. Which I think sometimes people miss when it comes to gaming. I think people just think about gaming and just like, oh, it's just a kid wasting his time or
Yeah.
person wasting their time. But I really think there's nowadays more than ever, you can game with your girlfriend or your wife or your friends, and it's fun. There's more bonding, if you will,
Yeah.
going on than anything else. Um, so leading into the next question, I know esports, it's something still fairly new. Do you think content creation, meaning streamers, have like a portion in that scene, or is it more or less they're just on their own, path and own lane?
I think they can kind of share a lane in a way.
Yeah,
They do definitely have their own worlds. But I mean, you have guys like Ninja and Summit,
yeah, they do
who've done
both.
the esports stuff and whatnot, and and I think it's easier for some of the better gamers in the esports world to kind of carry over into the streaming world after
Yeah,
they're done for whatever reason playing esports, because they already have that fan base, so they can kind of
right.
get that good head start. But I kind of got into the whole esports things late.
Yeah.
I wish I was kind of more involved with it when I was a little bit younger, but I think I kind
Mhm.
of missed the boat on that. But you know, um, as far as like, yeah, I think easily it could go either way. You got a younger kid that's streaming and whatnot. Maybe that's a way for him to get discovered in the esports world,
Yeah.
and vice versa. You got a great player on the esports side that could be has a good personality for streaming and make a killing in the on the Twitch world or the Mixer world.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. That's couldn't have said it better. Nice. Um, so this kind of leads me to the second portion of the fourth question. What can smaller streamers do to grow their channel? I know you're for the most part one of the bigger streamers that we have on Third Sense, but obviously you weren't always that big, right? You didn't
Yeah.
have those viewers per night. What did you do, and what would you advise others to do that are trying to grow their channel?
So, I mean, I do have a YouTube video out that kind of gives my
Mhm.
tips and tricks and whatnot for small streamers getting going and whatnot. And I mean, I point out that I'm not partnered yet or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, you get a lot of those YouTube videos out there by other streamers that are already partnered and whatnot. So I thought it was kind of cool to get my
Yeah,
opinion on it as someone who's been doing it for a year, but I've had some pretty good success over the first year.
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
The biggest couple things I can think of is quality is a big part of it. Making sure the stream looks good, sound quality is good, picture quality is great. Um, I know not everybody has the luxury of having like a crisp quality stream, but try and do as much as you can to make it look as good as you can, because a lot of people aren't going to stick around if it's pixelated or lagging or they can't hear you or stuff like that. And then networking is another huge one.
yeah.
Um, I wouldn't be where I'm at today with a lot of the people that I've met over this first year.
Mhm.
Helping them out, they've helped me out. And it's a very fun community.
Yeah.
Um, when you get some people that really care about what you're trying to do, and you care about what they're trying to do. So there's a lot of support. Networking is a big one. So those are my two, I think, top two. But the rest are, we can spend an hour talking about that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. No, yeah, I'll definitely link your video in the description. So if anybody's watching this on YouTube, you want to see his tip videos, I'll make sure I'll link it down below so you guys can go there and watch. I watched it myself. I think a couple of the points that he discussed were very important and actually true. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it's one of those where, to me, it's like destiny kind of speaks for itself. I think, like you said, your friends said you fit the personality that an entertainer you should have. Definitely think you have a good future ahead of you when it comes to streaming. Um, so going off that, kind of like these questions that come up after talking to you. You did mention Mixer in the previous answer. What are your thoughts on different platforms, streaming platforms? Do you think they're good? They're bad? Like, is there really a rivalry between a Mixer streamer compared to a Twitch streamer, or is that more or less just non-existent, just kind of like a different brand of a car, and that's it? Nobody really cares because it's still a car.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's really any difference. I don't think there's really any true rivalry between any of them.
Okay.
I think whatever gives you the best shot at getting noticed, I guess, not as necessarily getting famous and whatnot, but
Yeah.
Twitch is incredibly saturated. I mean,
Yeah.
even Mixer's starting to kind of grow quite a bit. It's incredibly easy to just pick up and start streaming. So, I mean, everybody's trying it. You get a lot of people that come and go. But as far as like the other, I mean, I tried Mixer too. I was like, what, I'm gonna give Mixer a shot. And I tried it for a couple weeks, but had a lot of technical issues that they couldn't figure out on my end and whatnot. So I went back to Twitch.
Okay.
But I haven't tried any other. I know YouTube has a live streaming thing, but I believe YouTube's more for the video side of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like any kind of rivalry and whatnot, I don't think there is any.
Okay. Okay. Kind of to add on that, I don't know if you heard, but Facebook said they're going to be doing something similar to like streamers for streamer
Yeah.
support. or content creator support as well. What do you think about that? Do you think that's something that, I mean, Facebook for me, before we go into your answer, I like Facebook. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing on them. However, I do think that they're trying to just monopolize everything and try to like get everything just for them, which is not necessarily a bad thing. However, I think if you go on Facebook now, there's just so many things going on that I don't think you really need something like that on Facebook. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's my thought. But what do you think about Facebook going into gaming, really, essentially?
I'm definitely intrigued. I had a buddy tell me the other day about it, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna have to look into that to see
Yeah,
what approach they're gonna take. Um, I don't know if I necessarily want to link my personal Facebook account on it and stream that way, but I think it's a good start for people who are wanting to get into it, and get in there early. Um, it's a risk you got to take, but you got to risk it to get the biscuit.
uh,
But it's definitely intriguing. I'm definitely going to kind of keep my eye on it and see how it goes
yeah,
and see how it takes off.
sweet. And you know, recently a lot of people have been going into consecration, streaming, and all that stuff. Some would say for the wrong reasons, maybe just for the money or for the fame. What do you think on those people that do that? Because I have seen some fluctuations of people. Like, I don't know if you follow. This is an old show, but Andy Milanakis.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I don't know if there was a video that he made that stated, or pretty much he's like, oh, you know what, I'm going to go on Twitch, but I'm going to do it because I want the money and I want the fame.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on people that just do it for that reason of like wanting to get all the money and all the donations and all the fame that they get from people supporting them?
I don't, it's kind of a weird, I don't know, talking point, I guess.
Yeah,
I got into it for the plans of doing it full time. I
yeah,
want to be the next Summit or the next Ninja, etc. But if you go into it with that mentality right off the bat, like just thinking you're just gonna do it for the fame and the money, and you think you're expecting it to happen quick, you're gonna have a bad time. It's it's
yeah,
definitely a grind to build your community up and whatnot,
mhm,
and build that following. And I think a lot of people get disgruntled with that, especially when they're starting out. You just expect that as soon as you start streaming, you're gonna have all these viewers, and it's not the case. I had 0 to 3 viewers for the first like 2 months, and it was definitely a grind, and I had to network and talk to friends and family to kind of get some
yeah,
support and whatnot. And yeah, going into it thinking that way, you're not going to put out a good stream, I believe, because you're
yeah,
doing it for all the wrong reasons. So I definitely think if you're going to get into it, don't have that mentality. Go into it just kind of see what happens. You go with the flow and definitely grind your way to building what you want, but don't expect it to happen overnight.
yeah, definitely. And kind of going off that, regarding Twitch, is there anything you would like to change or switch from, like something about it? Like any
uh
maybe like a functionality, or maybe you're not a big fan of the host system, or the way if you go on their page, there's only a selective amount of people that get displayed on their main page. Anything that you think should change, or for the better, or for the worst?
I've never really thought about that, to be honest. I just show up and stream every day, but yeah, I don't even know how to answer that.
See, these are the questions I don't like, 'cause these are questions that on the spot. You gotta have to. All right, what's going on? All right, let's see. Let's see.
The one thing that I think Mixer has over Twitch is the super low latency. Like Mixer is almost instant. Like it's within a second, you're seeing what the player's seeing, and if there's a chat, like you can have that better chat system, I guess.
Yeah,
You're not waiting for that 10 to 30 second delay, for the streamer to kind of see what you said and respond to it. If Twitch could figure something like that out, I think they would just kill it. I think everybody would
yeah,
be on Twitch, but that's one thing I think Mixer definitely has over Twitch is that low latency, which is a big
yeah.
selling point for them.
I think, and obviously this is probably nowhere near what Mixer has. I know Twitch, they tried to do this whole like tried to reduce that delay, and they had like a beta version of it out. And I remember I tried it once, and certain people said it was like working fine. I don't know if that's just not a thing anymore. Maybe it's something that Twitch tried out, but it didn't work properly or something like that. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think sometimes I'll put something in chat and then somebody will respond, but it's like super late and it's not very instant. And then by the time that, I'm like, well, they already have like 20 people trying to talk to them. They're probably not even going to get to my question.
Yeah.
And by the time they do, it's probably super late. So I'm not even going to bother asking. No, but yeah, definitely agree with that. I know uh, at PAX I met some mixer streamers, and they told me that that's actually really beneficial having
Yeah.
that little to no delay on the stream, because that allows you to connect with with your viewers a lot better and faster.
Yep.
So that's good. So, where do you see yourself like 5 to 10 years from now when it comes to streaming? Do you think it's something you'll continue? I mean, I would hope so, but sometimes at one point certain people are like, I kind of have to do other stuff, or got other things going on.
Yeah. As far as everything keeps going the way I want, and there's nothing major that happens that, kind of prevents me from streaming.
Yeah.
You know, for example, Summit just hit the most followed channel on Twitch
Oh, really?
last week.
Wow.
And he's been streaming for a little over 5 years, I believe. And I was thinking to myself, like I want to get to this point. I want to be exactly where he's at in 5 years. So I always tend to kind of go for the long goal and, go big.
Yeah.
So that's my ultimate plan, is try to, grow to that point,
Yeah.
and make a successful Twitch community and whatnot. And just keep striving to, be the best. I always want to be the best. I'm very competitive, so
Oh,
I
that's a good
just
thing.
kind of converted that into the streaming world, and we'll see what happens in 5 years.
No, yeah, really, I agree. I mean, for me, I tell people at the end of the day, streaming is pretty much like going at war with each other, because it's like you're fighting for that viewer essentially, right?
Yep.
And I think sometimes people like Twitch is more of a community thing, and it's like we're all friends and let's all host each other and have fun. But at the end of the day, man, you're trying to get those viewers. It doesn't, at the end it does not matter. I mean, is that uh, the best way to frame it? I mean,
No,
really, I think so.
you're
Um,
absolutely right on that.
yeah, I mean that's the way I like it. I'm like, I'm trying to get viewers. We're friends, but I need to get those viewers. Um, at the end of the day. Um, so you said you're streaming for about a year now. What has been the best moment while streaming that you've
uh, hmm. Best moment.
had, or worst moment? I mean,
Or
hey,
worst moment. I don't really
there's
think
been
I've had a worst moment.
okay.
Everything's been pretty smooth. As far as the best moment, I don't know. I've had a lot of fun moments along the way. I can't really pinpoint anything. I haven't had that like major, like, holy crap, this is incredible. Um, I haven't had like a giant host, anything like that. Every day has been pretty good. I feel like every stream's been a lot of fun. I do have my down days. There's just some days where I'm just like, I don't want to be here. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
as far as like, basically every stream daily, I have a blast. I get off and I'm like, that was a good stream. Yeah, I guess I haven't really had that like incredible moment yet.
Not true. I mean, hey, how about your reaction when you received your first donation? To me, I think that's probably one of the more special ones. I mean, when you're starting out, you're probably like, nobody even knows I'm here, and then you hear that notification.
I mean,
What did you
that was
think?
cool, but I mean, my first follower was my buddy that talked me into it, and he was also, yeah, he was my first donation as well. But
Oh,
it was
nice.
cool, just hearing that alert go off, and I'm like, wow, this is the start of something that could be incredible. So,
Yeah.
it could be like when Twitch did their affiliate program. I got it on day one, and I got my first sub that same day. That was cool. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty
Ta-
much that.
ta- Talking about affiliate program, what are your thoughts on that? And we're not sitting here. We're not okay. Relax, Twitch. If we're watching this somehow, some way, don't remove his affiliate, from affiliate or whatever his account from that. We don't want that to happen. But I think sometimes Twitch doesn't necessarily always listen to people.
Yeah.
And I think the affiliate program is a good and a bad thing at the same time. What are your thoughts on that program?
So as far as a good thing, it gave essentially a ton of people that were already on Twitch
Yeah.
the opportunity to get those subs, and make more revenue off of their streams. I think they might have set the bar a little low as far as what it takes to be an affiliate. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it could have been a little bit higher to kind of weed out the people that were really dedicated to it and whatnot. There's some people that I know that, that I got affiliate that definitely deserve it, but they just don't get the following that I think they should. So it kind of helped those streamers, but I think it definitely upset the partners. But it was also a brilliant move on Twitch's part, because it just probably created a ton of revenue on their end, because Twitch gets half of the sub money. But But yeah, it was brilliant on their part. But I know that a lot of the partner streamers were kind of voicing their opinions when they first announced it, because they were going to lose a lot of their subs, because a lot of these people that are subbing to the top streamers are probably going to take their subs and sub to their friend or somebody on a lower scale, as far as viewership. So
Yeah.
it was definitely had its pros and cons, but I was definitely thankful for it. But so hopefully that transitions me into a partner eventually.
Yeah, definitely. I did hear at PAX there were some streamers that I spoke to, and they're like you said, they voiced their opinions about it, because I asked them as well. I was like, "What do you think about the program?" And similar answer to yours. It's like it's good, but at the same time it's bad, because, like you said, certain streamers that would normally subscribe to them now subscribe to their friends, or they lose that portion that now they're almost like a subculture of streamers now,
Mm-hmm.
compared to the partners. And no, I definitely, the day you get your partnership, I'm gonna go bananas. It's one of those where I don't know. For me, if I'm you, if I once I get partnered, I'm gonna cry and just cry all night and look at and grab I don't send you an email, right? Print out the email and frame it somewhere in a fancy place.
Have some champagne ready.
Right, bottles up. No, definitely, that's cool. But overall, there's Twitch is a crazy place. I think you can find anything on Twitch really nowadays. What are your thoughts on where streaming is going, right? Because right now you see a lot of people that they do the webcam, and now they're green screens, and the IRL streams, and a lot of these crazy things that are going on. Do you ever see maybe a VR stream? I know some people try to do them, but they're not as good as they should be, or anything very more futuristic. Where do you see streaming going in the future?
Wherever the trends go, to be honest. I think VR is definitely the future of gaming, and I think once they kind of get a more solid setup as far as VR, I think it's definitely going to be the future of Twitch. I think Twitch, and along with any of the other streaming platforms, just going to go where the trends are. I want to try the VR. I haven't had an opportunity yet. I looked at probably getting one within the next couple months, but I've heard kind of people tell me that have tried to stream it that it's it's kind of difficult. It's not really worth it. But I mean, it's definitely something that I want to look into if it's something that's going to help and gain viewership and whatnot, and go from there.
No, definitely. I've seen some streams with it, and it's a little bit awkward sometimes because it doesn't. The whole VR thing doesn't work sometimes, and it looks just funky. But yeah, I definitely think Twitch will go with the trends, and I'm surprised. Is there a Twitch channel or a section for cooks? Is that even a thing yet?
Yeah, they have a cooking channel, they have a music channel, they got a talk show channel.
So cool. That's why I like Twitch, and I know a lot of people. And this is more about eSports, but back in the day, this player named Nadeshot. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Nadeshot, right? He's a big streamer on Twitch at one point. He decided to go over to a different provider called MLG.TV for X amount of money. They paid out whatever he was making here at Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then he stated in an interview, he's leaving Twitch is probably the worst thing ever, for the fact that Twitch is not only a gaming, hub for streamers, but more or less a hub for everything. So by any means, you can probably meet somebody that doesn't even game, but somehow enjoys your stream and might just stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the crazy thing about Twitch, that there's so many things going on that you might just gain those viewers that somehow end up in your stream. And I think that's really cool. And, hats off to Twitch, to be honest. But I mean, besides that, I mean, going back a little bit back to the earlier question of small streamers, what do you think people do wrong when it comes to getting started, or maybe they don't get it, or they don't understand Twitch, or what do you think they do wrong that makes it to where they just kind of plateau, or don't even get out of the 1 to 2 to 3 viewers?
I think it kind of touches base on what we've kind of already talked about, was the mentality of going in thinking that you're going to be an overnight success. People kind of dive into it thinking that they're going to just be, making all this money right off the bat, and it easily disgruntles them, and then they just give up. If you got to go into it knowing that it's going to be a grind, and then pretty much just making sure that you're quality's good. You're talking to the chat. You know, before I started, I was popping into some of the smaller streamers and whatnot. You get people in there that were, you know, you're like, hey, how's it going? And they're just playing their game. They're not paying attention to chat. You know, you definitely got to be engaged. You know, those people are there to watch you play and, you know, and be involved with what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, you definitely got to, you know, speak with them and, you know, have a conversation with them, make them feel welcomed. And people, the biggest thing is just people get disgruntled as far as viewership. You know, they get really turned off by that 0 to 3 viewers. And then they just, you know, they just eventually give up because it's not worth their time. So that's exactly what it is. I've seen a lot of people already, you know, people that I've tried helping out, you know, even in my first year, you know, helping them out with graphics and whatnot and checking them out. And now they're no longer streaming. I haven't seen them on in like the last couple months. So
yeah, definitely. Sorry, I'm just being distracted by the Twitch chat right now. So I'm just with that beard though. Is there like a story to the beard? Is that like a staple of like, you know, Rhino, this is my beard, you know, gotta respect it type of thing?
I have the best beard on Twitch, I'm just saying, but basically, you know, I've always been known for my beard. I shaved it mistakenly a couple months ago.
Oh no.
And definitely upset some of my viewers.
What did they say? Like, who's this? New phone? What's going
pretty
on?
much. I'm not pretty without my beard, so we basically at my real job, I was trying to do a team building thing with the rest of the guys on my team. We all had beards, and I was like, you know, let's just shave it and rock mustaches for the week. That was a bad idea, but it was fun. I had fun with the mustache on stream. You know, it was a fun week. But people, when I had to shave the mustache and just it was nothing, it wasn't pretty.
Okay, so. No, definitely. I'm sorry. I saw the chat. I'm like, this is probably the best thing I've ever seen.
Those are my boys.
So, nice. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Jeez. But besides that. The beard. I mean, I can't grow anything to save my life. So yeah, I'm on that no beard grind. You know, no shave November, and I have scruffle, so it doesn't work out for me. But yeah, besides besides we end the show, anything you would like to tell people, you know, to like that are looking to get into it, and you know, are like, oh, I don't really know. There's a lot of people already. You know, why should I? There's nothing interesting about me. What do you what do you say to those people?
You don't know until you try it. You know, you never know. You could be perfect for it. You just got to have that mentality of grinding through it. You know, you can't just jump in and expect overnight success. But if you enjoy talking to people, you enjoy playing games and whatnot, and you believe you're somewhat entertaining, then it's definitely worth a shot, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Top 3 games right now.
Top 3 games right now?
To stream or play.
Ooh. So that's kind of that's a hard question to ask because you have the people, you know, PUBG, Fortnite, League of Legends. Those are always usually in CSGO. Those are like the top games on Twitch. You know, a lot of people play them. However, if you're getting into it, I wouldn't recommend it because you're just going to be buried on that list. That's a hard thing to do because you definitely want to play something that you're good at and you enjoy. Yeah. Because it will definitely reflect on the stream. However, you're going to have a harder time trying to grow. You're going to have a harder time trying to get noticed because not a lot of people like to scroll all the way down to the bottom, you know, and just click one of the random hundreds of streamers that have less than 5 viewers. So it's something that you kind of got to play with, you know. I started out with H1Z1. That's what I first started playing, you know, and that was one of the popular games on Twitch at the time. And then I kind of dabbled around. Yeah, when PUBG came out, that game just dropped off. I kind of became a variety streamer. I was jumping from game to game and whatnot, and kind of just seeing what was fun and what got me the most action in my stream. And essentially, I kind of settled on a couple games, and those are the ones I stick to. But nice. Right now, I've been hooked on Rainbow Six Siege. The game's a blast. The guys in the chat right now are the ones that I typically play with. Good guys, they carry me.
Yeah, I mean, I remember shooting through the window wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I was like, what who did that? They've been a huge help in trying to like train me up and get me to the point where I understand what's going on in the game. But PUBG is what I played for a while, and I want to get better at Fortnite, but I'm terrible at it. Yeah. So I just need to spend more time playing it. But lately, last week I had Sea of Thieves. I'm super looking forward to that game when it comes out. I had a blast playing. And then I got the alpha key for the hunt. So I played that yesterday. I had a blast. I'm going to play it more tonight.
Nice.
And then, Yeah, so I mean that's a hard thing. Top games, I mean, whatever's popular on Twitch, those are like the top 3 are going to be the top games. But as far as getting into it, I wouldn't recommend those.
Dope, dope. With that being said, what do you need? What do you want to say to your fans, supporters, people that are like, "Oh, this guy's interesting." What is that thing you say to push them over the edge and be like, "All right, come on board."
I don't really know, man. I every day's unscripted, so
Nice.
basically, I always thank them at the end of my streams, telling them there's thousands of other streams they could be in, and they choose to be here, and I'm forever grateful for that. So, I just hope to see them again in the next stream and keep moving on.
Dope. Yeah, but with that said, I mean, I appreciate you coming on. I think, this kind of gives people, your supporters, a different angle of who Rhino is, Ryan. So yeah, with that said, we're gonna be checking out, guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. And if you guys want to rewatch it from the beginning, we'll post it on Twitter whenever it's live on our YouTube channel. But yeah, with that said, thank you for coming on the show, Rhino.
Thank you for having me.
All right, deuces, guys.
Deuces.